Canada has kind of turned into a bit of a political dumpster fire, and we've been on a bad press, horrible news winning streak, I suppose. We're just day after day after day, news scandals, more corruption. Trudeau failed at this. Trudeau failed to do that. He said the wrong thing. It's been an absolute shit show. And the only real political win that we've had, and it's a bit of a far stretch, is the fact that Justin Trudeau is the first leader of any country to actually go and face-to-face sit down and meet with President-elect Trump. That's the only thing. But even that has caused a lot of backlash. I mean, for crying out loud, Justin Trudeau's itinerary has been, for the most part, set in stone, and people in his inner circle, the press, they know in advance about any sort of meetings and things that happen. But this was such an impromptu thing that nobody knew what was going on except for the pilot, Justin Trudeau, and a couple Liberal MPs that seem to have gone along with him, and then of course Trump. So we're going to be taking a look at that, and then if we have time, we're going to take a look at Dr. Jordan Peterson, who does not have very nice things to say about Justin Trudeau. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage y'all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does tremendously help grow the channel. And I do have a special announcement from a special sponsor for today to offer you guys an awesome discount heading into the winter months. Here we go. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. We've teamed up together and we're offering my audience 83% off for using code SUNSHINE, which can be found linked down below in the description or the pinned comment below. It's no surprise that we're living in a time of censorship, and Canada is unfortunately leading that race because of Justin Trudeau. Now, Justin Trudeau wants to make sure that you can't see the news. He wants to make sure that you can't see certain content on streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, Crave, and you shouldn't have Disney Plus because, of course, our finance minister said if you can't afford things, you should cancel Disney Plus. So the way around this is through a VPN such as Private Internet Access. Now, for those who don't know what a VPN is, it's a way to encrypt your data, basically putting a cloak over you so that you can freely browse the internet without feeling like your personal information is at risk or the government getting and selling your personal information. And the best way that I like to go about this, the best cloak that I like to put over myself is Private Internet Access, which again can be found linked down below in the description or the pinned comment below for 83% off. Thank you, Private Internet Access, for sponsoring this video. And without further ado, let's get into it. So the MP that kind of went along with Justin Trudeau on this trip is this guy right here, LeBlanc. And this is actually the first announcement of what happened in that meeting. So even though we're not hearing directly from Justin Trudeau, this guy sat like 2-3 seats down from Trudeau and was there the entire time. So this is like a little bit of an inside look as to what actually happened. So buckle up, and I really encourage you guys to stick around for the full video because this is going to be pretty good.
Do you have a sense of how this meeting came together so quickly?
My understanding is, Rosemary, when the Prime Minister spoke to Mr. Trump on Monday evening, 6 days ago, he said that it would be good if they had a chance to get together before the inauguration. And the President said, why don't you come down for dinner on Friday night at Mar-a-Lago? So it was, the President just invited him in that phone call on Monday, and it came together during the week, and we headed down in the afternoon of Friday.
So what was the goal? To go down there and listen to the president, to tell him more? What was the goal of the trip?
I think the goal was to, obviously, for the Prime Minister to reestablish what I saw to be a very cordial, respectful relationship. The two men have known each other for a number of years. It was a warm sort of social evening as well. The President talked to us about Mar-a-Lago, told stories about the election campaign. The Prime Minister and he discussed challenges around the world. The President asked a lot of questions of the Prime Minister about different world leaders or different circumstances around the world. So that was important. I think it was important to have an opportunity to meet some of his incoming cabinet secretaries. I was sitting at the table close to the incoming Commerce Secretary, who'll also be responsible for the U.S. Trade Representative function, Howard Lutnick. He and I spoke about tariffs and what they would mean to the economy. We spoke about the border. So it was a chance, I think, for the Prime Minister to talk to the President about the importance of the relationship. They talked about energy security. They talked about pipelines. They talked about different conflicts around the world, China, some of the challenges of China. But it was also to understand, as you noted, the threat of tariffs and some of the stuff that we're doing at the border now and additional measures that we're going to take.
Okay.
So, of course, I love ripping on Justin Trudeau. For crying out loud, I've made stickers, I've made merchandise that are just so anti-Trudeau. Like, it's phenomenal. The guy is a walking meme. Everything he does and says is absolutely horrible and has like catastrophic, implosions, right? Politically speaking, it's just an absolute shit show. But do we give him props maybe for being the first world leader to like jump in and say, hey, I recognize you as the next, president. Let's sit down and talk. Yeah. Is it maybe he deserves a little props for that, right? It's a very rare circumstance where Trudeau actually may have done kind of the right thing for Canada. I hate to say it. I really, really hate to say it. But again, he's the first guy to the punch. Now, is it because of a state of panic? Is it because Trump threatened 25% tariffs? Yeah, it is. So it's not Trudeau being nice and saying, you know what, let's go sit down with the new president of the United States, aka the world. It's we're going to be taxed to death. We're going to go into a recession. So, you give him props kind of, but it's kind of out of panic. So it's a half props. It's a pruh. It's a pruh. Give Trudeau a pruh.
And I have a few questions about that. But just so we're clear, you didn't get a commitment from the president-elect to not move forward with the tariffs. That's fair to say. That you didn't get that. But what did you get in terms of any reassurance about the idea of tariffs?
So we got, I think, a mutual understanding of what they're concerned about in terms of border security. All of their concerns are shared by Canadians and by the government of Canada. The president and his cabinet secretaries understood that. We talked about the challenge that fentanyl represents in Canada, and these are shared objectives. We talked about the security posture currently at the border that we believe to be effective, and we also discussed additional measures and visible measures that we were going to put in place over the coming weeks. So, and we also established, Rosemary, a path, a personal series of rapports that I think will allow us to continue to make that case. Sure. Incoming Secretary Lutnick texted me the next morning and wants to get together again in the next few weeks to continue the conversation around the border. So that is very valuable, I think, in helping them understand the shared priorities that we have with their government.
So what is happening then with the border, Minister? This is your portfolio. This is your file. The Prime Minister apparently said at that meeting that he was going to increase helicopter patrol. How quickly are we going to see a change in the posture at the border? How much money are you going to put behind it? And will we see that in the fall economic statement?
So 3 questions. We, Rosemary, talked about a lot of the Canada-U.S. cooperation that currently exists. There are literally sections of the border where there are Canadian surveillance cameras and drone coverage, and then a certain sector 100 kilometers away is the American Customs and Border Patrol, and they share the images in real time. So there's such a deep integration currently in terms of border security. So we took stock of that, but we also told them, as we've said publicly, we told the Americans, we said publicly, we're going to look to procure, for example, additional drones, additional police helicopters. We're going to redeploy personnel. As much as a reassurance exercise, we believe that the border is secure. We believe that there has been a long history of effective cooperation between Canada and the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's a bilateral challenge. We're also concerned about guns. We talked about, with the Americans, about our concern about gun smuggling coming from the south towards the north. So these are all shared concerns that we agreed to continue to.
So that rhetoric right there goes against the entire rhetoric of needing to punish law-abiding gun owners here in Canada. Are they or are they not being smuggled from America into Canada and by registered firearm owners in Canada? Is it criminals that are doing this? The answer is simply is yes. So that right there is extremely hypocritical to everything the Liberals have been saying about we need to go after law-abiding gun owners because they're the ones causing all the crime. Come on, dude, get bent. Are you kidding me?
To work on together. But it's important, I think, to show Canadians and the Americans that we're stepping up in a visible and muscular way. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
And the money for that is forthcoming. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's already hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars spent, but we're going to take additional measures, and I'll have more to say with the Minister of Finance in the coming days or weeks.
Okay. Keystone XL, I understand, was also something the Prime Minister himself brought up to the President-elect, knowing that he was previously in favor of the project. Did you get the sense now that that is possibly back on the table?
So we discussed that. We told President Trump and his new energy czar, the governor of North Dakota, who will be the Interior Secretary, about our government's role in getting the Trans Mountain pipeline completed. They weren't very familiar with what we'd done there. And then, as you said, the Prime Minister raised the Keystone pipeline. I think that the discussion was, President Trump talked about how disappointed he was that his successor had canceled the approvals. The issue is there currently a business case with TransCanada Energy? So I think that's the work that remains to be done. But I'm optimistic again that he understands the energy security needs of the United States can be considerably met by a close partnership with Canada. There's over 70 pipelines, Rosemary, that cross that the Canada-U.S. border now. So the 71st one isn't going to be that dramatic, but it can be very valuable both for the Canadian industry, but also for the energy security of the United States.
It was certainly important, as you point out, to have the meeting, the dinner, to get in front of these people and to develop these relationships. But we still are at a point where this threat is hanging over our heads. So, what is concerning you about that reality now, and what do you have to do to make sure it doesn't actually happen?
Well, we have to continue to work as we did Friday night with the incoming administration. We have to make the case, which we believe is very strong, about the current security and integrity of the border and the economic consequences to the United States as well as Canada for these tariffs. But Rosemary, the public threat, the social media posting was on Monday evening. 4 days later, we were at his residence in Florida, having dinner to talk about exactly that context. He only becomes president on the 20th of January. We're going to continue to work with his incoming administration, and I'm confident that the Americans will understand that it's not in their interest or in Canada's interest, obviously, to proceed in this way.
Just quickly, Minister, because I do think it matters. Did you get the impression that Donald Trump likes Justin Trudeau?
Very much so. Very much so. It was a very cordial. At the end, he walked us to the cars, to the front door of Mar-a-Lago. He said to the Prime Minister, "Keep in touch. Call me anytime. Talk soon." It was a very cordial, warm dinner. As I say, the President at one point with his iPad was controlling the music. He was asking what people wanted to hear in terms of music. It was a very warm, cordial meeting, and I saw very much the mutual respect and warmth between the two leaders. I thought it was very positive. It was the first time I'd seen the two of them together in a sort of a prolonged way like that, and I thought it would be very important in the coming weeks.
Okay, we'll see, Minister LeBlanc. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let that just sink in with how serious all of that was. To make the claim that Donald Trump is President-elect Donald Trump actually respects Justin Trudeau is preposterous. We've all heard it. I don't even have to pull up the clips. We've all heard it time and time again where Donald Trump has said that Trudeau is a sissy. He's not good at his job. He likes Canadian people. He doesn't like the Canadian government. And before the election took place a few months ago, You even had President-elect Donald Trump on a podcast or a live stream say that, you know, he may or may not be Fidel Castro's son. That's the rumor. That's the rumor. Come on. You can't respect Trudeau and then also entertain that claim. Like, give me a break, man. Everybody who says that Castro is Justin Trudeau's papa does not like Justin Trudeau. Diehard Justin Trudeau fans think that Pierre Elliott Trudeau is Justin Trudeau's father. So kind of a weird claim, but hey, take that with a grain of salt, if you will. And I'd love to know what you guys have to say about just that entire clip down in the comments. Now we're going to take a look at Jordan Peterson and what he has to say about Justin Trudeau. And it's not nice. I mean, what's next? Now they're going to make the claim that Jordan Peterson also respects Justin Trudeau? Yeah, I don't think so.
Things first. What's significant about this change in leadership for America?
Well, I think the primary element of significance is probably the team that has aggregated itself around Trump. And we know in some ways what a Trump presidency would be like because we already had one, but we don't know what a Trump presidency with Kennedy and Vivek Ramaswamy and Musk and J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard is going to be like. And that's only a few of the people that have volunteered for service. And they really have volunteered because these are all people who have many other things that they could be doing that are in their own right very important. And it'll be really something to see what they manage to attain.
Yeah, I think Mark Thiessen told me today, he says, we haven't seen this combination since Washington team with Benjamin Franklin, that you have the world's greatest inventor and maybe the smartest man in the world, certainly the richest, Elon Musk, and President Trump. What I think is also helpful, and you've been at the forefront of this, Dr. Peterson, I think we're putting the cancel culture in the rearview mirror. I feel like we're getting this political correctness. I feel like the political correctness is going to be in our past. I think America is sick of it. And you notice I didn't say Republicans or Democrats?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I hope you're right. I think there's one fly in the ointment, I would say, and that's the universities. The universities are overwhelmingly dominated by progressives among the faculty, but even more to the point among the administration, and that radically outnumbers the faculty. And it's not obvious to me at all how that's going to be turned around. And because virtually everyone who controls everything is run through the higher education system, that's still a dreadful flaw. And it's also the case for K through 12. You know, half the state budgets are K through 12 education, and they're controlled by the faculties of education and the teachers union, and the conservatives were absolutely 100% asleep at the wheel to allow that to happen.
For decades.
So the progressives still dominate education.
So I want to move on and talk about your home country. We have Justin Trudeau, who came out and starting to realize, if you don't mind I do this, that there's a little problem with illegal immigration in his country, and it's overwhelming everything.
Backpedaling.
Here's what he said to the Canadian people.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years.
Why has he found this fortuitous for him to talk about immigration? Why is he changing his tone?
Well, he's changing his tone because the policies that he put in place, which demolished the Canadian immigration system, threw the borders wide open, upending decades of effective immigration policy in Canada, have caused a catastrophic crisis in the country. And now you could see that he was blaming that on educational institutions and bad corporate actors. And that's exactly typical of him and his 14-year-old mentality. Everything that's gone wrong on the immigration front in Canada is 100% attributable to Justin Trudeau and his pack of demented minions. So now it's gone so badly in Canada that he has no choice but to reverse course. And then to see him flailing around to find someone to blame is exactly as pathetic as you'd expect from someone like him.
He blames everybody else for his shitty mistakes, and well, I don't even call them mistakes because he's done them on purpose for his shitty policies. He's literally blamed everybody but himself. Like this is called karma, right? Where Trump is saying, all right, buddy, you got to fix your stuff or 25% taxes on everything, right? And that's why, again, you saw Trudeau panic and fly down to Mar-a-Lago to try and sort this out. Now, again, yeah, sort of, kind of, maybe, perhaps, hypothetically, theoretically, give him a bit of a props, a couple claps for taking the initiative to go, but he had no other choice at the same time. He had no other choice. He's going to sit here in Canada and twiddle his thumbs and wait for the tax to show up. No, man, he's so far back in the polls. He needs these Hail Marys. And this right here is unfortunately going to get the attention of a lot of people and say, oh, yeah, look, Trudeau is fighting for Canada. And so he's probably going to get a temporary bump in the polls because the media and everyone out there, all the mainstream media guys, the narrative is, look, Trudeau is fighting for the best of Canada. He's got your best interests in mind, when in fact he had no other option, right? So you kind of give him props, but not really, because he's just doing his job. Like, good job on actually doing your job for once. It's just an absolute disaster.
It is similar that they both flew open the borders. They denied it was a problem, and now they can't deny it, and they're trying to save their political fortunes. Let's talk about your book now.
Yeah, good luck.
I know. I hear you. We who wrestle with God.
And the funny thing too, the funniest thing about the whole Mar-a-Lago situation is Donald Trump, if I'm not mistaken, he allows people to stay in his hotel, right? Like, or he can stay in, the people stay overnight in Mar-a-Lago. But if I'm not mistaken, Justin Trudeau was caught the next morning by reporters at a hotel, and he just said it was a productive meeting. And that's all we've actually heard from Justin Trudeau himself. So one could kind of make the argument that Trump doesn't like Justin Trudeau and didn't let him stay in Mar-a-Lago. I mean, the security there is going to be phenomenal, right? Better than what Trudeau has in a hotel. So kind of funny when you just put it all in perspective. But again, I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Is this even a good look for Justin Trudeau? Is this not a good look? Is this, him just doing his job? Do you think he should have flown down? Let me know what you guys have to say. Leading up to the up to the weekend, you did have Pierre Poilievre say, or I think once news broke out that Trudeau got on that emergency flight and took off to Mar-a-Lago, you had Pierre Poilievre, leader of the opposition here in Canada. He did get on a press conference, or maybe it was to X, and he said that Justin Trudeau is not the person. He's not competent enough to go and talk to Donald Trump about these things. And this is something that I think even Donald Trump agrees with. I mean, you had Trump, President-elect Trump, just last week say he doesn't want to meet with the loser of the Canadian election, and all roads, all signs are leading to Justin Trudeau losing a horrible landslide by Pierre Poilievre. Even when we look at the polls here, Pierre's up to 229 projected seats. Come on, that is absurd. You only need 172 for a majority government, and Pierre's got 200 seats for a bottom line in the seat projections. Trudeau is down to 51. He was just at 63 the other day. So there you go. I thought that maybe he would get a temporary bump in the polls. No. In fact, people are so angry and so worried and so pissed that under Justin Trudeau's regime, Trump has threatened us with 25% additional taxes on everything. And then to add the cherry on top, once the winter break is over, once we get past these 60 days of our GST tax break, all right, cool. We save GST for 60 days. After that, at 61 days, the freaking carbon tax goes up. So we get a small little tax break, a small little teeny weeny 2-month puny little tax break. But then afterwards, our taxes go up, not back to normal from the GST. The GST comes back, but then the carbon tax increases. So this guy is just an absolute idiot. And he's ruining Canada. He's ruining our economy. If those tariffs go through, Canada is heading into a recession. Absolutely. And I know there's a lot of people out there that want to make the argument and have valid argument points and debates that we've been in a recession. And I get it, but I'm talking like people cannot afford their mortgages. People just won't be able to afford anything. beyond where we already currently are situated. It's already horrible right now in Canada. So I'm going to leave it on that note. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. That's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. On your way out, I'd like to encourage you guys to smash the like button and subscribe. And just remember, supporting the sponsors of this channel, especially private internet access, does really help this channel. See you guys in the next one. Bye for now.